Tonight, you will join me on a special journey. 10 ancient stories, passed down from the time of the Buddha, are waiting for you. They are not just fragments of distant history, but mirrors that illuminate the mind, like small stars guiding us through the night. Each story is a doorway. When you gently open it, behind lies a quiet space where peace and wisdom are always present. And on this path, you don't need to go anywhere far. You only need to return to yourself. So, before we begin, allow yourself to let go of all the worries of today. Take a deep breath in and slowly exhale. Feel your shoulders relax, your body becoming lighter, and your mind opening to receive of wisdom. The Buddha once taught in the Dhammapada, "In this world, hatred is never appeased by hatred. Only by love is hatred appeased. This is an eternal law." With that spirit, open, gentle, and filled with compassion, let us step into the first story. Now, as your mind has calmed, we open the first door. This story is preserved in the Nikaya scriptures, simple yet carrying profound power. Story 1. King Pasenadi Eats Too Much. One afternoon, in the bustling city of Savatthi, King Pasenadi sat upon his throne after a lavish meal. He often had the habit of overeating delicacies brought forth one after another, and he found it hard to stop. But as soon as he left the table, his heavy stomach made him weary. His breath became labored, his eyes drooped. This powerful king, ruler of a vast realm, was defeated by nothing but his own gluttony. That day he went to see the Buddha. Seeing the king walking slowly, face strained with discomfort, the Buddha asked, "Great king, you have come here after overeating, haven't you?" Embarrassed, Pasenadi nodded. The Buddha then turned to a young attendant nearby, named Sudassana, and instructed, "Remind the king of this every day. Eat in moderation, keep the body light, and the mind will be clear." From then on, Sudassana had a special duty. Each time the king sat down to eat, he bowed and recited, "Eat with restraint, not indulging greed. Those who eat mindfully live long, free from sickness and at ease." At first, the king found these words irritating, but gradually he began to listen. He reduced each portion, learning to stop when his body had enough. Soon, his body grew lighter. He no longer felt heavy after meals. His mind, too, became clearer, more alert in state affairs. The Buddha taught, it is not only overeating, all indulgence in lust, in fame, in wealth, makes us heavy. The one who practices moderation is truly free. Story 2. The Fish on the Hook. One morning, as the Buddha and the monks went on alms round by a river, he paused to observe fishermen casting their nets. A man pulled hard on his rod, hauling up a large fish. Its mouth was pierced deeply by the hook. It thrashed wildly, water spraying everywhere, but the more it struggled, the deeper the hook cut. The Buddha smiled, turning to the monks. "Do you see? This fish is just like a human caught in desire. Its mouth was trapped on the hook, just as our minds cling to craving. The harder it struggles, the more pain it feels. Ordinary people, when intoxicated with pleasures, are the same. The more they chase, the more tightly they bind themselves." Then he quoted a verse from the Dhammapada, 342, "Like a fish pulled from water, flung upon the dry land, the mind trembles with desire. Let go of craving." The monks stood silently, watching the fish writhing hopelessly on the bank. A brief moment, yet it carried a vast lesson. We often believe we are free when we follow our desires, but like the fish, the more we chase, the more tightly we are hooked, the more our freedom is lost. Letting go does not mean abandoning joy, but releasing attachment. Only when we are no longer pulled by the hook of craving can we truly swim freely in the river of life. Story 3. The Snake and the Blade of Grass. One evening, as the last light turned the riverside forest golden, young monks sat around the Buddha. They had returned from alms round, minds restless with practice questions. One asked, "Bhante, we study much, memorize much, yet our minds are still unsettled. Why is that?" The Buddha gazed at them, eyes kind yet clear like a still lake. He told a story. Imagine a man walking through a field, spotting a venomous snake. He tries to catch it, but instead of using a stick or noose to hold it just behind the head, he grabs its tail. The snake whips around and bites him with venom. He suffers greatly because he held it the wrong way. The monks listened silently. The Buddha continued, "So too with the Dhamma. If you grasp it wrongly, use it wrongly, it can harm you. But if you grasp it rightly, use it rightly, it becomes the cure, like medicine that neutralizes poison." He then pointed to a patch of grass. Dhamma is like this blade of grass. If a foolish man grabs it wrongly, it cuts his hand. But if skillful, he uses it for rope, for medicine, for benefit. Likewise, if you learn Dhamma only to argue, to boast, it becomes a blade cutting your hand. But if you practice Dhamma to let go of greed, anger, and delusion, it becomes the path of liberation. The lesson struck deeply. The monks realized the danger of pride and the wrong use of teachings. They silently vowed to learn with humility, like beggars receiving rain. Meaning for us today. Often, we too grab the snake by the tail. We use wisdom to criticize others instead of improving ourselves. We store teachings for debate, not reflection. A little knowledge breeds arrogance. That is when the Dhamma bites us. But with humility, using Dhamma to calm greed, anger, and delusion, it becomes a rope, medicine, and light. Story 4. The Man Searching for Fire. Long ago, a Brahmin lived on the outskirts of Savatthi. He was known for diligence and perseverance, yet he was proud, believing that only his rituals could bring blessings. One morning, he was performing an offering in his yard. He rubbed 2 sticks together to make fire, thinking that only fire born from ritual would be sacred. He rubbed and rubbed, but the fire never came. At that moment, the Buddha passed by. Seeing him, the Buddha stopped, looking at him with compassion. He asked, "Brahmin, what are you doing?" The man, sweating heavily, replied, "I am seeking fire to offer to the gods. I must rub these sticks until flames appear to complete my ritual." The Buddha smiled. "Brahmin, do you not know? Some ways of seeking fire are futile. If you rub wet sticks, you will only tire yourself, no fire will ever come. If you rub them under water, it is even more hopeless. But if you know the right way, using dry wood, placed properly, then the fire will surely arise." The monks present listened intently. The Buddha continued, "In the same way, monks, some people practice while their minds remain drenched in desire, anger, and delusion. They strive hard, but achieve nothing, for their minds are submerged in craving like wet sticks. Others seek liberation through rituals, sacrifices, or prayers to gods. That is like rubbing wood beneath water. No matter the effort, the fire of wisdom cannot arise. Only when the mind is dried through virtue, kept pure and clean like dry wood, placed rightly, then with a little effort the fire of wisdom will blaze forth." Hearing this, the Brahmin suddenly understood. Looking at the sticks in his hand, he realized all these years he had been rubbing wood under water. He dropped the sticks, knelt at the Buddha's feet, and said, "Bhante, now I see. I sought fire in the wrong place, and the harder I tried, the more I suffered. Please teach me how to ignite the fire in my own heart." The Buddha replied gently, "The fire is not far. It lies in mindfulness and wisdom. Begin with virtue, then practice meditation. When the mind is pure, the heat of effort will ignite the flame of liberation. No need for sacrifices or rituals. To live with mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom, that is the highest offering to the Buddhas." Lesson for us. The story of the fire seeker carries a timeless truth. In our modern lives, we too often rub wood underwater, seeking happiness in wealth, status, praise, or fleeting pleasures. We think the harder we try, the more peace we'll gain. Yet the harder we seek, the more tired and disappointed we become. Only when we turn inward and see, true peace lies in letting go. A heart dried of craving, anger, and delusion becomes ready. With even a breeze of mindfulness, the flame of wisdom will ignite. Story 5. The Corpse Bearer. One fresh morning, dew still upon the grass, the Buddha and his monks passed by a charnel ground outside Rajagaha. There, the poor and abandoned dead were often left, bodies unclaimed, to be consumed by nature. As they passed, they saw men carrying a corpse, bloated, purple, lifeless. They dropped it at the charnel ground and silently walked away. The Buddha stopped, calmly gazing at the body. Then he turned to the monks and said, "Look, monks, this body is also yours. One day, you too will lie here. None can escape death." The monks fell silent, their hearts heavy. Each saw clearly that even their strong bodies would one day become useless and cold. The Buddha continued, his voice deep and slow, like a bell in the dawn. "Some carry the corpse of another to the cemetery but forget their own corpse. They see death in others but forget that they too will die. This is ignorance. The wise are different. When they see another's death, they reflect, 'This is not only them, this is also me. This is my destiny.' Reflecting thus, they abandon pride, craving, and hatred, knowing all must pass away." The image of the corpse in practice. The Buddha often instructed monks to practice corpse contemplation. They were to observe bodies at different stages of decay, freshly dead, still intact, bloated and oozing, eaten by birds and animals, reduced to white bones, finally ashes mingled with the earth. He said, "Monks, reflect. My body too is like this, bound to decay." By such reflection, attachment to the body weakens and wisdom arises. Lesson. The story of the corpse bearer is a strong reminder. We see others die, yet think, "Death is far from me." We chase wealth, quarrels, hatreds, loves as if we were immortal. But in truth, if one breath goes out and does not return, death has already arrived. Because we forget death, we live carelessly, wasting precious time on trivial things, only to regret when the body finally falls. Message for the present. Tonight, imagine, if you had only one day left, what would you do? Would you keep anger, blame, and competition? Or would you love, forgive, and live each breath deeply? The Buddha taught in the Dhammapada, "Tomorrow is uncertain for all. The wise live mindfully in the present. Like a skilled carpenter, they shape each moment into a work of art." Story 6. The King and the Withered Garland. One day, King Pasenadi of Kosala came to the Buddha, sighing, his eyes heavy with sorrow. "Bhante, I love Queen Malika. I love my children. But because I love them, I fear. I fear losing them. Fear they may leave me. Fear misfortune will come. I cannot find peace." The Buddha was silent for a while. Then he held up a garland of flowers, already withered and faded. "Great King, love is like this garland. When fresh, it delights the heart. But nothing avoids fading. Whatever arises from clinging brings suffering. To love is not wrong, but to grasp and hold is to suffer. When you let go, the heart finds true peace. These words awakened the king. He realized that it was not love itself, but his attachment that created fear. Lesson: we often confuse love with possession. Pure love nurtures, but when it becomes grasping, it brings fear and pain. The greatest happiness is to love without owning, to cherish without clinging. Story 7. The Hunter and the Deer. Long ago, a hunter lurked in the forest, laying traps everywhere, digging pits, spreading nets, hoping to capture deer. One day, he saw a beautiful deer. Yet strangely, the deer walked calmly, without fear. It never entered the snares, never touched the bait. No matter how hard the hunter tried, he could not catch it. Frustrated, the hunter shouted, "Why do you not fall into my traps like the others?" The deer paused, gazed at him with gentle eyes, and replied, "Because I do not seek food in traps. I live freely in the forest, not chasing easy bait. You want to catch me, but it is your own greed that traps you." The hunter stood stunned, realizing the truth. From then on, he abandoned hunting and lived in peace. Lesson: the deer's trap is a symbol for life's temptations. We are caught not because the traps are strong, but because our own greed is weak. One who knows to stop, to be content, cannot be caught. Freedom is not outside, it is within each person's mindfulness. Story 8. The Two Friends and the Crow. Two friends once walked in the forest. They saw a crow descend upon a piece of rotten flesh, pecking at it eagerly. One laughed, "Look, it thinks this is treasure." But the other said seriously, "Do not laugh. That crow is no different from us. We too peck at the filth of our minds, greed, anger, envy, believing them to be precious. But the more we cling, the more we reek of suffering." The words silenced his friend. He realized that often he too had lived like the crow, delighting in the garbage of the mind, forgetting the pure clarity within. Lesson: we often mistake greed, hatred, and pride for strength or value. But in truth, they are like rotten flesh, only polluting, weighing down the heart. True freedom comes when we dare to release them, returning to the brightness already within us. Story 9. The Monk and the Moonlight. There was a monk named Vangisa, once famous as a poet, skilled in eloquent words. Yet on quiet nights, his past desires still stirred within him. One night, he stepped outside the monastery. The moon was full, shining brightly. He sighed, feeling turmoil in his heart. The Buddha, knowing his struggle, taught him, "Vangisa, look at the moon. It reflects in every river, in muddy pools, in clear lakes, yet its light is never stained. Let your mind be like the moon. Thoughts may arise, desires or sorrows may appear, but the mind's true clarity is never tainted. Simply return to that light." Hearing this, Vangisa awakened. He composed verses praising the Buddha, and from then practiced diligently, resting in the stillness of a moonlit mind. Lesson: we often believe our minds are broken, too defiled to find peace. But the Buddha showed, the mind is like the moon, always shining, only covered by clouds. When the clouds of greed, hatred, and delusion pass, the light naturally appears. Story 10. The Traveler and the Mango Tree. A traveler once passed through a forest and saw a mango tree heavy with fruit. Ripe, golden mangoes lay scattered at its base. The traveler thought, "How rare! I'll take some to carry with me." So he climbed up and plucked many. Later, another group came by. Wanting fruit but finding few left, they grew angry. They threw stones, broke branches. The tree was ruined, no more shade, no more sweet fruit. The traveler watched in regret, thinking, if I had not taken them first, perhaps the tree would still be safe. The Buddha told this story to the monks and taught, like the mango tree, those who flaunt their pleasures and wealth soon invite harm, but one who lives simply, without show, keeps long-lasting peace. Lesson: when we cling to pleasures, possessions, or fame, it is like displaying ripe mangoes to the world. Others will compete, envy, or take them, and we suffer the loss. But when we live humbly, not showing off, not clinging, we preserve freedom like a hidden tree, green and safe in the forest. And so, these stories join the others as gentle lamps guiding our way. Deer that teaches freedom from greed, a crow reminding us of the filth of craving, a moon that reflects the clarity of the mind, and a mango tree that whispers the value of simplicity. Let these images stay with you tonight. Breathe softly, rest your body, and allow peace to bloom quietly within as you drift into sleep.